The unlikely friendship. Once upon a time in the bustling city of London, there lived a woman named Sarah. She had recently moved to the city from a small village in the countryside to pursue her dreams of becoming a writer. Sarah had always been captivated by the magic of words, and she believed that the city's vibrant culture and diverse people would provide her with the inspiration she needed. Sarah's journey, however, was not without its challenges. She was a young woman from a humble background, and her English, though passable, was far from perfect. She struggled with the intricacies of the language, often feeling lost in a sea of unfamiliar words and expressions. One sunny morning, as Sarah was sitting in a cozy cafe, nursing her cup of tea and scribbling notes for her latest story, she noticed an elderly man sitting at a nearby table. He was meticulously reading a newspaper, his brows furrowed in concentration. Sarah couldn't help but admire the way he seemed to effortlessly navigate the English language. After a few moments, the man folded his newspaper and noticed Sarah's curious gaze. He smiled kindly and said, "Good morning, young lady. You seem quite absorbed in your writing." Sarah returned the smile, feeling a bit self-conscious about her limited command of the language. "Yes, I am. I'm trying to improve my English while working on my stories. It's quite a challenge." The man's eyes twinkled with understanding. "Ah, the English language can be quite tricky, can't it? My name is Mr. Jenkins, by the way." Sarah introduced herself, and they struck up a friendly conversation. She learned that Mr. Jenkins was a retired English teacher who had spent his life helping others master the language. He had a passion for literature and a deep appreciation for the nuances of English. Over the next few weeks, Sarah and Mr. Jenkins met regularly at the cafe. They discussed everything from books to current events, and Mr. Jenkins took it upon himself to help Sarah improve her English. He patiently corrected her grammar, explained idiomatic expressions, and introduced her to the beauty of English literature. One day, as they were sipping tea and discussing their favorite authors, Sarah shared her dream of becoming a writer. "I've always wanted to write stories that touch people's hearts, just like the books I love to read," she said. Mr. Jenkins smiled warmly. "That's a wonderful dream, Sarah. And I believe you have the talent to achieve it. But remember, writing is not just about mastering the language, it's also about finding your unique voice and telling stories that matter." Encouraged by Mr. Jenkins' words, Sarah continued to write and hone her craft. She submitted her stories to various magazines and journals, receiving her fair share of rejection letters along the way. But she persevered, learning from each rejection and refining her work. As time went on, Sarah's English improved significantly, thanks to Mr. Jenkins' patient guidance. She felt more confident in her ability to express herself in writing. And, to her surprise, her stories began to gain recognition. One day, Sarah received an email from a prestigious literary magazine. They had accepted one of her short stories for publication. She couldn't contain her excitement and immediately rushed to the cafe to share the news with Mr. Jenkins. When she arrived at their usual table, Mr. Jenkins was not there. Sarah asked the cafe owner if he had seen the elderly man, and to her dismay, she learned that Mr. Jenkins had fallen ill and was in the hospital. Sarah rushed to the hospital, her heart heavy with worry. She found Mr. Jenkins in a small room, looking frail but still wearing his trademark smile. He was pleased to hear about her publishing success and congratulated her warmly. As Sarah sat by his bedside, Mr. Jenkins said, "Sarah, I've enjoyed our time together immensely. You've grown as a writer and as a person, and I'm so proud of you. Remember to keep writing from your heart and sharing your stories with the world." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she thanked Mr. Jenkins for his unwavering support and friendship. She promised to visit him regularly and read her published stories aloud to him. In the weeks that followed, Sarah visited Mr. Jenkins often, bringing her stories and reading them aloud. His health gradually declined, but his spirit remained strong. He continued to offer her advice and encouragement, even as he struggled with his own battles. One evening, as Sarah read her latest story to Mr. Jenkins, she noticed that he had fallen asleep, his breathing slow and steady. She finished reading and gently placed the manuscript on his bedside table, whispering a heartfelt farewell. The next morning, Sarah received a call from the hospital. Mr. Jenkins had passed away peacefully in his sleep. Sarah felt a profound sense of loss but also gratitude for the friendship and mentorship he had provided. At Mr. Jenkins' funeral, Sarah delivered a eulogy in his honor, sharing the story of their unlikely friendship and how he had helped her become a better writer and a better person. She realized that his legacy lived on not only in her, but in all the lives he had touched through his teaching and kindness. In the years that followed, Sarah continued to write, channeling her experiences and emotions into her stories. She never forgot the lessons she had learned from Mr. Jenkins about the beauty of the English language, the power of storytelling, and the value of genuine friendship. And so, Sarah's journey as a writer continued, enriched by the memory of the elderly English teacher who had become her mentor and friend. She knew that her writing would always carry a piece of Mr. Jenkins' wisdom and warmth, reminding her that even in a bustling city, true connections could be found in the most unexpected places.